Today we're talking about period underwear. Before we get into it, I just kind of wanted to say that I didn't feel like putting lashes on, but I did feel like wearing cats. Hence the earrings and the shirt, and also my socks have cats on them, just so you know. So chances are you've never seen a video of mine before. I'm a nobody here and it's fine, but I just kind of like to make videos for my own enjoyment, and sometimes I like to talk about informational things and offer some insight by doing my own research into things. And you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and someone can always, you know, put, you know, a fact in the comments. It's whatever, but I like to research mostly skincare. I made a video about my salt cup, so you know, it felt fitting that since I also have period underwear, I would talk about those as well. And obviously you saw by the title, we're talking about Thinx, and I have my like little notebook here with all kinds of notes. There's a few pages, so this might be lengthy, just so you're aware. Let's start off by talking about exactly what they are, right? So I have my little, this is a different pair than I held up before. These are high-waisted ones. I'm gonna turn them inside out. And this is the crotch area, if you will. There's bandit fur, my cat. So this is what you would call the gusset, and there's several layers in here, and it's supposed to absorb your period blood. And depending on what style you get by the absorbency level, it can completely replace all other period products. Or it can act kind of as a backup to your, you know, tampons, or if you're using a cup, you can use this as a backup. You know, if you're scared to leak during the night, you could wear these. And it also goes without saying, they are supposed to be incredibly environmentally safe because it's a lot less waste. I decided to give up tampons about 2 months ago, and I've been feeling pretty good about it. So I kind of wanted to go over some like facts first and talk about the products themselves before I go into my experience personally, because I feel like that's a little bit less important. So when you go to their website, they talk about how their products, like I said, can completely replace all your other products, or it's just like a good little backup to have. They talk about how each pair is made with, quote, signature innovative technology, end quote. And I was asking myself, well, what is that? You know, what is your product made of? Had to dig a little deeper to find that out, because they have it underneath another tab. If you scroll all the way down, you can find the tab and then it'll take you to it. This gusset layering that they have is supposed to obviously prevent leaks, whisks away moisture, and controls odor. So under the tab product safety, Thinx has like kind of a little breakdown about what their gusset consists of, and it's mostly variations of cotton, elastane, and different polyesters. They mentioned that they have been vigorously tested and they're certified by something called OEKO-TEX. So that's, I'm not in that field, so I don't know anything about that, but I personally felt like it was a little bit vague. They give you the materials, but I felt like it was a little bit vague. Like I wanted to know a little bit more about the gusset itself, and totally unknowingly, I came across an article that was talking about how they had like toxic chemicals in them, right? So obviously I went to go read it. So obviously the brand labels their products as organic. And this article it's from fastcompany.com, which I haven't heard of before, but they were talking about how A study was done to test Thinx unworn underwear, and there appeared to be something called PFAS, which the actual word for is kind of hard to say. Polyfluoroalkyl substances. I probably said that incredibly wrong right now, I'm sorry. But PFAS, they are known to be linked to lots of cancer issues and fertility issues, amongst other things. And as a person who menstruates myself, when I saw not only cancer but fertility issues, I was nervous because my boyfriend and I hope to have one child. I only want one. That's all I can handle. I know that. And so that was a cause for concern, obviously. So I was reading more about how they affect the body. You know, how are we exposed to PFASs if it's not just period products, right? And as it turns out, we're exposed to them through fast food wrappers or like bakery good wrappers, through fabric treatments that are used to make your furniture or carpet stain resistant, and also clothes labeled as stain or water repellent, and they're in beauty products. The problem with this chemical is that they build up in our blood. This article also went on to say that Thinx was denying that there's chemicals in their products, and so I wanted to kind of like read a little bit more. I didn't want to rely on one source that might not even be reliable in the first place. So they were talking about how the founder, her name is Mickey Agrawal, she wouldn't go into detail with this specific source about what goes into the process and, you know, what they're really made of. Again, you know, she mentions the multi-layer system and its moisture impermeable polymer layer and a moisture absorbent layer, and then a moisture wicking layer. And she was talking about how they can hold up to 5 teaspoons of blood depending on which design you get. And then I went digging deeper because I was just curious, and a contradicting article from Popular Science, they were talking about how Thinx hired outside experts to test their products, and they didn't find traces of chemicals. And this source said that Thinx sent them copies of the reports, so they had proof. The CEO, her name is Maria Molland, I guess she said in an email to them that they're expanding the list of chemicals that they test in their products, and they're working to develop a safer chemical process across all of their brands, because there's the standard Thinx brand, and then they have like a teenage one, or for like, you know, really young kids who start early, and then they have a sister brand that is for like bladder leaks. She also stated to them in the email that if there were any unregulated PFAS chemicals found in their products, they would move very quickly to remove them. The problem with this is that menstrual products are severely underregulated, and I mean period products of all forms. You know, this isn't just a period underwear issue. It's the pads, it's the tampons. The FDA considers menstrual products to be medical devices for whatever reason. I consider it a part of my daily life because it's something I'm always having to either prepare for or I'm having to think about. You know, it's always going to be a part of my life unless I decide to not have it part of my life. So for it to be considered a medical device that I'm you know, wearing a cup, or I have this underwear, or what have you, I find that weird. But because they're considered medical devices, that gives the brand No rules. You don't have to put your ingredient list on the product label. Go ahead, go without it. So if you've ever wondered why there's no ingredients like on your tampon box or something, that's why. But this isn't just an issue with the United States. This is a global issue. Nearly half of the world's population menstruate. So the fact that there are not stricter regulations regarding what we have a right to know, and that we don't know so much, it's disappointing, it's sad, and quite frankly, it's scary. It's been said that several bills have been like brought to light in New York, and they're trying to insist that people who menstruate deserve to know, what goes into their body. But I don't know if those, went into effect, if they were passed. And as far as I know, I don't think any other states are really making that a priority. And then this begs the question, is it safe for us to put anything in our bodies that's made for our periods? Well, I mean, what can we do? It's sad that it's so underregulated and they really just don't give a shit, to be honest. The vagina happens to be one of the most absorbent parts of the body. It can just absorb whatever is in it, and it can be carried to your bloodstream, and it can cause all kinds of problems. And so at the end of the day, it does matter what you're putting in your body. It absolutely matters. The idea for period underwear has been around for nearly 40 years. This isn't a new idea. It's not an innovative idea. It's been around for quite some time. A protective petticoat patent was issued to a woman named Gladys Williams in 1967, and that was kind of where it all started. And then I wanted to give you guys kind of, I guess, like some better options if you're kind of scared to use Thinx based on this video or everything else circulating out there. According to Cosmopolitan, they went looking for PFAS free period panties, and they were able to find only 3 brands, but at least 3 brands. These are Luna Pads, Sustain Natural, and Ruby Love. So you might want to go check those out if you were kind of thinking about period underwear and maybe you're scared to use Thinx. And back to the PFAS, exposure. EWG.org, they have, which is the Environmental Working Group, they have, I can try to remember to link it down below, but I might not remember to. Sorry, my boyfriend's talking. But they have a whole, list of like ways that you can try to protect yourself from PFAS, but honestly, it just kind of seems impossible. You can definitely try, of course, but it seems kind of unavoidable too. If anyone's wondering how I feel knowing all that and like wasting so much of my money, at first, when I found the first article talking about how they found those chemicals, I felt uneasy, and I was kind of like, I wasted so much money on them because they're fucking expensive. But after I found the other one and, they had proof of the reports and everything, and I kind of was like digging deeper on like the product safety page on their website and stuff, I do feel a little bit better. That's not to say that there isn't any of that chemical in their products, because there might very well be, but because this category of products for menstruating people is so underregulated, I don't really have another option. I mean, if I were to use a tampon, boom, I mean, that's going straight up in there and I'm exposed to them anyway. So I just feel like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't type of thing. I think at this point, knowing all of this, the only advice I can give is it's up to you. It's whatever you feel safe with. If you're looking for period underwear, I would definitely recommend the PFAS free, but that's not to say that there's not something else that's dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel kind of at a loss being a person who menstruates, because that's frustrating. It's like the government just totally ignores us when so much of the world's population has a period, and they just don't care. Like, doesn't that just like blow your mind? It's like disappointed but not surprised type of thing. Anyway, I will go ahead and go through my experience using them though, because I have used them now for a few of my periods. So the first cycle that I used them through, I was testing out my cup. And so since that was my first time ever testing out my cup, I used these as the backup. And I think I got pretty lucky, because honestly, I didn't leak through my cup. Well, I think I had like a little bit of spotting because it was in like a weird position. And then the second time I used almost exclusively these. So like, and you know, I only have 3 pairs, but my period lasts about 4 days, so I did have to like wash and then rewear. And it didn't feel wet. It didn't feel like a diaper. It is a little bit thick. Okay, so here's what I have. I have the boy short here. I love these, okay, because it's like shorts and underwear all in one. You know what I mean? This is a pretty thick gusset, and you're just like covered, you know, like you have that safety. And it goes, this is the back, so it goes all the way up here. So like if you're laying down, you know, it can catch the blood and it's not gonna move, really. It's not gonna get anywhere. So I really like the boy shorts. There's a lot of coverage there. The thing with my period, which I mentioned in my salt cup video, is that I don't get a bunch of the liquid blood. I have mostly clots, and I think that's due to being on my birth control for so long, because obviously I get a placebo period. So these are less coverage. I think these are light coverage, but they work pretty well. You know, they last a while too. And I know a lot of people are like, I go through the comments sometimes on their posts, and people are like really concerned about like odor and stuff, which I understand. I didn't really have an odor. I think if I were to wear them for like 12 hours straight, there would absolutely be an odor. You know what I mean? Like if it's just sitting there and it's like drying up and I haven't changed, yeah. But I feel like it's that way for pads too. I mean, really, what's the difference? These are, I don't know, they're like probably medium or something. Medium coverage or something. But all in all, it's important to get a size that's going to fit you for sure. Like don't mess around with, oh, maybe this size will fit me. Like, get your size. That's the most important thing that they recommend. But yeah, and when I sat down, I didn't feel like there was blood like gushing up, you know, from the panty that had gone into it. Overall, personally, my experience was good. And washing them, they recommend like washing them separate from the rest of your clothes, you know. And so I just throw them in the wash separately from everything else, and I do like a quick wash with cold water, and then they highly suggest that you don't dry them, so just hang them to dry wherever you can. And yeah, knowing what I know going forward, I think a good option is to go through the brands that I suggested that are like PFAS free. I think that might be a good option to buy from if I do decide to buy more, because obviously I have like 4 or 5 day periods. So someday I am going to be in the market for more. I can deal with the 3 for now, but again, we don't know what's in them, and it's really frustrating, truly. And I don't know what's in the brands that I recommended from Cosmopolitan. But yeah, the only thing that I can suggest is go with your gut. If you feel like you don't want to use a certain brand, don't use it. Research other brands and find one that you feel comfortable using and buying from. I don't really know how I feel about Thinx anymore, but I am going to continue using the underwear because environmentally it's a lot better than tampons. I don't really want to go back to tampons, and you know, I'm using my cup, and sometimes I do need a backup because what if I go to work or something, you know, it would be nice to have the backup underwear. But yeah, I think this is just a matter of whatever you feel is comfortable for you. And that wraps up this video, guys. Let me know if this was informational, if this helped you in any way, because sometimes I know that no one like comments on my videos like ever, but sometimes it's nice to know if like this wasn't a waste of time. But at the end of the day, it was kind of nice even just to learn for myself too. But yeah, I wanted this out there so that everyone else could have some info. And also I just wanted to talk about my earrings. They're from Hungry Lala. Bella Fiore wears her earrings all the time, and I was like, oh, she has cat earrings. Like, if you know me at all, if you don't, you should know, I'm a big cat fan. So when I saw cat earrings, I kind of just had to have them, you know? Anyway, I'm all done. So, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.